Warriors, Mr. Beebe asked me if I could make a quick video for y'all to go over how to use Galileo and JSTOR. So I'm going to go over both of those services right now, how you can access them, how to use them, and how you can get all the resources you need through these couple of websites. So first thing you need to do is to go to the school website. We're going to click on resources, and then from there we're going to scroll down to the Media Center website. Now, I would suggest bookmarking this website for you because this is your one-stop shop for pretty much everything that you need. If you need to check out a book, if you need to look and see what books we have available, or if you need to get to our digital resources, which we're going to cover today. So once you've gotten to the Warrior Center website, we're going to click on Student Resources. And from here, you're going to have access to all the digital supplies that we have. So you can see Galileo and JSTOR, which we're going to cover today. ArtStore, which I'll cover with you in the future. I have some quick introduction videos on how to use all of these things, as well as how to access Destiny, look up books that we have here in the Media Center, and how you can check those things out. But today, like I said, we're going to focus primarily on Galileo and JSTOR. Now, I shouldn't tell you this because I do run the school library, but these two resources kept me from having to go to the library when I was in college and undergrad at UGA. They're definitely a lifesaver. They're easy to use. They're easy to navigate. And I'm going to give you a couple tips and tricks as to how this can save you a whole bunch of time. So we're going to go to Galileo first. Now, if you are on campus, you should be able to log in, or it will automatically log you in. If you're not on campus, you'll hit log in. Okay, you're going to have to find Oconee County Schools or Oconee County High School. So we're going to scroll on down, find it. Hit go, and then we're going to have the password. Now, the password did just change this week. Mr. Beebe has that for you, and I can't post it in the video because of copyright issues, but Mr. Beebe has that password, or if you need to contact me, I'll be happy to help you with that as well. So once we're all logged in and we're ready to go, make sure it is Oconee County High School or Oconee County Schools so you have full access to everything that we have. And from here, it's going to act kind of like a Google search, but this is Google that is reliable, okay? Everything that you find on Google, can't use it because it's not necessarily vetted. Anybody can post anything, but in Galileo, we know these are scholarly items that we can rely upon. So let's go ahead and let's say we're going to search for colonization. Okay, we're going to type that in. Going to hit enter. And once my internet pulls up, there we go. We can see that for the keyword colonization, we have over 600,000 resources that we can pull from. Okay, so that's an awful lot that we need to look through. So we're going to start to weed this stuff down here, little bits by bits by bits, to make sure that we can get a more accurate search or something that we're looking for. So if we know we're looking for colonization, if we're looking for colonization dealing with a particular country, let's say India, we're going to want to include that as well, okay, in our search. We're going to search again, and we can see that this has now gotten us down to 108,000 resources. And that's still a lot, but it's not 638,000 that we were dealing with just a second ago. So now we're going to start narrowing this thing down and making sure that we're finding information that is pertinent to our specific topic. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm over here on the left-hand side, I'm going to hit limit to full text, okay? By doing this, this is going to give you articles that have the entire text included in the link, all right? If you don't do a full text search, then you're going to get some articles that just have snippets, and it's not going to be something that you're really going to be able to use in your resource. So that gets us down to 105,000. So that took a couple thousand out. And then I always suggest doing a scholarly or peer-reviewed journal. Scholarly or peer-reviewed journals are going to be things that are backed by the community of those experts. It's been peer-reviewed. Many people within that field that have an expertise in that topic are going to have read that resource and vetted it. So this gets us down to 57,000. And we know that because these are peer-reviewed articles, that they are going to be very accurate in what they say. And they're going to be reliable resources that we can use. Now we can continue to narrow down our resources here. Publication dates, 1886 to 2021. That's a pretty wide range of dates. If you're looking for a more specific time period, you can narrow that down. If you want it to be something that is written more recent, okay, you can slide this back arrow up. Uh, Generally, when we talk about articles, we want something that's been written in the last 10 to 15 years, unless we're looking for a primary resource. But for right here, we're going to narrow this down to the last 10 years, and that gets us down to 34,000 articles. Okay, now we can limit it by type. And by type is something that was in an academic journal or a review, a magazine, a book, and you can see how many hits each of those types have. So we're going to narrow this thing down to academic journals. We're going to update this, and we know that this is going to get us to just under 31,000. So we've gone from 638,000 in the original source, and we've now trimmed this down to just under 31,000. I can also limit this by the particular journal that I'm looking for. I don't necessarily recommend that. You might miss out on something that you want. You can limit it down to something that's dealing with a more specific subject area within your broader topic. So if you're looking for the history of colonization in India, if you're looking for imperialism, the effects of antibiotics, climate change, microbiology, all of this keeps going on and getting more and more specific. So we're going to say that we're going to look for the history of colonization. So we're going to update this, and now we're down to 1,774. So we've gone from 638,000 down to 1,774. So we've done a very good job of narrowing down our search. And now we're going to start going through and looking for specific articles that we feel like will help us in our research papers. Now, a lot of you have probably done a Google search before, and you know that if you start getting to page 4, 5, 6, 7 in a Google search, you're going to start finding topics that don't necessarily relate closely to what you're originally looking for, or they're outdated, or they're just not accurate articles. Galileo, kind of along the same lines. If you can't find it within the first, second, or third page of a search, you might want to go back and start refining kind of what you were searching for into something a little bit more specific. Okay, because the deeper you go in the search, the further off the topic it's going to go. Galileo is going to sort these articles by relevance. Okay, so let's say that we're interested in this first article, the evolution of corporate law in post-colonial India from transplant to a word that I'm going to have an awful hard time pronouncing, so I'm not even going to try. But we're going to click on this article, okay, on this topic, and on this first page, this is going to give me all the information I need for my citations. It's going to give me the author, it's going to give me the source, it's going to give me the type of article, what subjects it's going to cover, and it's going to give me an abstract. And this abstract is incredibly important. An abstract is basically a summary of what this article is about. What is it covering? What are the main topics? And what is discussed? And that abstract is going to save me an awful lot of time, because I don't want to read a 30-page article just to find out I can't really use it. This abstract is going to give me a great idea. Is this something that I actually want to use? So if I read this abstract and I decide, yeah, I want to use this, we're going to click on PDF full text. And it's going to bring up a 74-page article. So yeah, I'm awfully glad that I went ahead and read that abstract. Now, as I go through, and you can see here, this is a table of contents. So this is early on in this. This is coming from the American University International Law Review. We see that it was from 2016. All right, so this is pretty recent, the last 4 or 5 years. And then we're also going to see different topics that are covered within this review. So this is going to cover this particular topic, the evolution of corporate law. Okay, if I wanted something about what is colonial, okay, what is colonial about colonial laws, I could click on that article. It's in the same review, and it will take me to that, and I can go from there. So while I have this up, all right, I can print this article, which you're going to be using an awful lot of paper. I wouldn't necessarily suggest that. Or you can download this article and create a PDF out of it. So that's always a great option as well. All right, so we're going to go back to the first page here, and I'm going to talk to you about the different tools that you have available to you to use within Galileo. And this is really what separates Galileo from a lot of other databases, is the tools that you have available to you. Okay, so you could save this to Google Classroom if you wanted to, or you can save it to Google Drive, and that is my suggestion. When you have a research paper or any type of project and you've got to find resources, go ahead and create for yourself in your Drive a folder for that particular assignment. And every time you find something you think you might be able to use, save it to drive. Always save. Save, save, save. Okay? The reason why is if you just don't save it and you're like, well, I'll just come back and I'll find this article later, you are never going to be able to find it. It's going to be like a needle in a haystack and trying to remember all the filters and all the clicks and everything else you did to narrow down your topic. So always save this thing to Google Drive. Okay. You can add to a folder. I wouldn't get into that with Galileo. That's going to be more hassle than what it's worth. You can print it. I would suggest emailing this to yourself as well. Okay, email the link to yourself. Create a folder within your email specifically for this project or this assignment. Okay, so that way you've got it backed up in Google Drive and you have it backed up in email. Okay, when I was in college, we didn't have access to Google Drive. That was a little ahead of our time. So I had email folders set up for all my different papers and links saved from Galileo. You can save it, all right, or you can cite it. And this is the big feature too that's going to help you. Now, chances are, now I haven't talked to Mr. Beebe about this, but I would imagine you're probably going to use MLA format. Okay, throughout your high school and your college career, you're either going to probably use MLA, APA, or Chicago. Okay, when you get into college, you're going to use a lot more APA. If you're writing a history paper, you're going to probably use Chicago. In high school, we use a lot of MLA. But the great thing about Galileo is it gives you the citation format for each one of these. Okay, so if I'm using APA, it gives it to me right there. If I'm using Chicago, there we are. All right, but I'm just scrolling down to MLA, and here's my works cited that can go into my bibliography or my works cited page. Okay, now you can copy and paste this. But here is the thing. Galileo, it is a great tool, but is not right in citations 100% of the time. The information is going to be correct, but the format may not be correct. Okay. So whether it's an indentation, all right, in the citation, if it's whether something is italicized or bolded, or how it's abbreviated, always double check the citations. Okay, you can rely on this. This information is going to be correct, but the way that it is laid out may not be correct. My suggestion is to always use Purdue OWL. That is the Purdue University Online Writing Laboratory, and it has always got the latest updates in MLA, APA, and Chicago, and how it's supposed to be done. Now, you wouldn't think citations change all the time, but they actually do. I've got a theory. It's so that college students will have to go buy the latest handbook because those things aren't cheap by any stretch of the imagination. But Purdue OWL is going to be your most reliable resource to make sure that your citations are correct. All right. So that's Galileo in a nutshell. So now we're going to go and we're going to visit JSTOR. Okay. JSTOR is another great resource to use. It's very similar to Galileo. You're going to make sure that we log in. If you're on campus, you should already be logged in automatically, theoretically. The username is going to be Oconee. The password you're going to get from Mr. Beebe, or you can get it from me as well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to log in. Just like Galileo, I can't share that password out through the video just for copyright reasons, but they will have that available to you. Okay, so now we're going to search JSTOR just like we did Galileo. All right, so the great thing with JSTOR, though, everything is already a periodic, or a peer-reviewed or scholarly journal. So we're not going to have to filter by that in our search. Okay, so I'm going to go for colonization. All right, and we're just going to go ahead and type in India. Now, this will give me, do I want to search for that? Do I want to search by an author, a title, or a publication name? We're just going to stick with the keywords. And we're going to see that this pops up with 30,820 results. So when we did this in Galileo, remember we started out with 638,000. We did it down to 150,000 by saying colonization in India. All right. And now we're going to go ahead and start weeding this thing down. So I can search by my academic content. Do I want a journal, a book chapter, a research report? We're going to say we want a journal. Okay. That's by your preference or what your teacher says. Does your teacher want a particular type of resource? Some teachers do, especially when you get into college, they'll be very specific about that. Then we're going to go down here to our primary source content. Do we want a document, a serial, a book? We're going to say documents. Okay, now we're down to 29,000, so we're slowly whittling away. If we were interested in our publication dates, we could enter that here. And then we can start going down to our different subject areas, much like we had in Galileo. So if you got African American studies, you got agriculture, you can go down to archaeology or architecture. You can go down to British studies. Remember, the British colonized India. So if you're looking for anything dealing with the British side of things, you might go there. And we'll click on that for right now. Just let's say that's what we're interested in studying. So this gets us down to 792 search results. Okay. And then we're going to keep looking. We can keep narrowing things down once we get down here. The different access types, all the content, everything like that. Now, as you can see, most of these are downloaded PDF. You have a PDF copy of what you're looking for. So we're going to click on this first one. Okay, just like Galileo, JSTOR is going to sort things by relevance to your topic. Okay, so much like with Galileo, if you get about 4 or 5 pages deep into your searches, you're probably going to want to go back and kind of reevaluate what you're searching for. So once I've clicked on this, okay, this is going to give me all the information I need for my citation. It's going to give me the journal article. It's going to give me the information about what journal this came from, the volume number, when it was published, the pages, all right, who it was published by. We'll get into citations in just a second, but you can see that you can share this. Okay, I would share it to your email. You can save it. I wouldn't get into all that. Much like Galileo, it's going to be difficult to kind of navigate that feature, or you can download this as a PDF. You can see that this is 22 pages long. Okay, one of the things, unlike um, unlike Galileo, sorry about that, I had a little bit of a brain cramp. You're not going to get the abstract, so you're going to have to kind of comb through this a little bit and decide, is this something that I want? But I would download this as a PDF. Now you can see that you don't have the save to Google Drive option like you do with Galileo, but you can download this as a PDF and then upload that to your Google Drive. So you still have that option. It takes another step, but that's fine. It's well worth it if it means holding on to your resources. And then once again, you're going to be able to cite this item as well. It's going to give you MLA, APA in Chicago. And as you can see here, it gives you all the correct information, much like Galileo, but they don't format it for you. So once again, check Purdue OWL for your formatting. Okay. So guys, that is Galileo and JSTOR in a nutshell. These are two great resources. I've used them a ton over the years, whether it was in my undergrad or my master's or my specialist degree. They are great. They are accurate. And you can find some really good resources a lot faster than you can trying to comb through a library shelf. Okay. Now, still come to the library when you get a chance. I'll be happy to help you pull resources and show you how to look everything up. Okay, because you can find a lot of great resources in print texts, but JSTOR and Galileo is going to give you access to a whole lot wider range of articles and journals that we don't necessarily have in print in the media center. So guys, that's all I've got. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. I should be back on campus sometime within the next few days, but I'm always on my email. Feel free to email me with any questions. I'll be happy to help you with citations. I'll be happy to help you with looking things up. If you need any help with anything, just come on by and let me know. Y'all have a great day.